Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are talking about what does a UX designer actually do. This is not really like a day in the life, but more high level of what my day, what my weeks typically look like as a designer. I have been a designer now, I've been doing it a year and a half. So I want to specifically talk about what it looks like for me as somebody who's still entry level, nearing mid, and works at a medium-sized company. We're going to go through some things and get into what does a designer actually do come 2024. I'm Stephanie, I'm with the UX design team, and pretty much the goal of this meeting is to understand how you're using this account page, what works, what doesn't, because our main objective is we want to rework this for you guys to make it the most usable as possible. So pretty much, if you don't mind just sharing your screen, and we'll kind of go through how you use it on a day-to-day, and then you let me know any pain points, anything you think is actually really good and is working, and I'll just be taking notes over here, and yeah. Meetings on meetings on meetings. And I've mentioned this before in other videos, but there are a lot of meetings. And the most common meeting I have is not even really like a type, but it's a meeting to review designs and get buy-in. Let's say I work at Book of the Month, I wish. And I have been working on a new feature in the app. So I've talked to stakeholders before I started. Now I'm kind of circling back and reviewing, and it doesn't have to be like a scary review. It could just be a quick 30-minute check-in, or it could be a Slack. It could be really whatever you want, but those are typically a lot of my meetings. I get information up front, I do the thing, and then I circle back and make sure the thing is what we all agreed on. A lot of the chunk of my time is spent in story refinement or sprint planning, grooming, that kind of thing with the development team. Let's say the app has been, the feature is ready to go. The product manager goes in and writes a user story, specifically calling out the AC and what all needs to go in it, as well as some of the technical requirements. I, as design review, developer reviews front and back end to make sure we all understand what's happening. And then we kind of just run through all those stories. They get story pointed, they get assigned points of difficulty and how long they think the developers think it will take them. And then from there, it gets put into the sprint. So that was a lot, but that's typically a lot of my meetings is sitting in with the developers. And a lot of the time, some of the stories have no UX UI component. There's no front end. So a lot of it is just back end. So I am just listening, but multitasking. A good chunk of my time is spent, at least for meetings, meeting with different stakeholders, people on different teams to understand what they need. So this is kind of user research, but we have a user research on our team. And I'm not the one that's like going out and interviewing Book of the Month's like customers. I could be more talking to our internal team. Let's say Book of the Month uses Salesforce, very common. Salesforce is everywhere. I could be interviewing the internal team, let's say sales, that uses Salesforce, on what's not working as well. So you also have to think your customers are not just your external people, they're also internal, because you are spending a lot of time with other departments, other people. So these interpersonal skills really do come in handy for collaboration, the empathy, the open-mindedness, all of that interpersonal skills, as well as the technical skills. They do take time to learn, but I was really able to lay the groundwork for that by enrolling in a bootcamp through Springboard, who is sponsoring this video today. Their next cohort is January 8th for the UI UX design program. So use the code STEPHANIEM to get $1,000 off that program, as well as any of their programs. You know, they take these skills that most of us probably already have, and they really build on them and make them applicable. So you learn these skills and you're able to create a competitive portfolio. They pair you one-on-one with a mentor throughout the length of your program, as well as career coaching when you're at the end looking for that first job. All of this really helps you kick off your career in UX. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, but my day is really split into two different blocks. The first block I talked about was meetings and meetings and more meetings. Second block is really design time, focus time, whatever you want to call it. It's always, I always joke because sometimes when you have so many meetings, it's like, great, I love this meeting, but I'm in so many meetings, like when is the work actually going to get done? So this is the when the work actually gets done, guys. Typically that is making any edits to design, and it really goes hand in hand. Like I talked about, I'm meeting with people to review design. There's usually edits that come out of that. I'm making those edits. So that can be anything from updating copy to changing the layout up a little bit. When I'm working with developers, they tell me sometimes, like, technically on the back end, that's not how it works. So I have to update the UI to reflect that, because you don't ever want to design something that can't actually be built. So that is a lot of the design time. I would say mapping, doing lots of user mapping, journey mapping of currently what the current process is. And then coinciding with that is a lot of current state. So a lot of current state, actually. Say we are trying to improve the experience for including an add-on. So the way this works, you get one book a month, but you can also have an add-on. Let's say there was a dip in the number of people adding on books to their order. So before we go in and start like throwing ideas at the wall, we need to map what we're currently doing. And so that's just like the current state process. So it can be screenshots of this happens and this happens and that happens and this. As I do that, I'm also taking notes underneath of this is good, maybe this is confusing, maybe this is where we drop and lose people, because you need to know where you're starting before you can improve it. So we are going to do a fun little exercise that I saw floating around. I have a job posting here for a UX designer, and I just want to walk through it very quickly with you guys and just see how it matches up to what I'm doing on a day-to-day. Designer for this company called Digital Room. Nice hefty salary range. We love to see it. Sadly, no longer accepting applicants. It was a month ago. There's a lot of fluff in here, but I'm going to try to just highlight what I think is important. Like collaborating with larger visual design team. Okay, collaboration. Exposure to product managers, category managers, brand stakeholders, executive leadership. Done deal. Create and refine user flows, customer and purchase journey maps, personas, customer user mindsets. Yep. Wireframes, prototypes. Any specs, brand initiatives, A/B tests, doing that. Collaborate with visual design, consistent with her guidelines and standards. Okay. Iterate on information design, information architecture, taxonomy, nomenclature, all of that. So that's pretty much making sure you understand your heuristics and your information architecture. Active participant in development and refinement efforts. All the development talk I was telling you guys about. Conduct user research, facilitate user feedback, organize findings. Yes, doing that. Not as too big of a scale because we have a researcher on our team, but I am doing my own little research for other teams that I'm working with. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty confident. I just want to show you that the day-to-day is really, this is the day-to-day. This is probably more common of an experience than you think. These are the kinds of things that UX designers are currently doing and will continue come 2024. So these things are what I like new designers or people interested in UX to be aware of. A great way to keep learning more is to understand what design trends are no longer practical or applicable come 2024. So check out this video here. And if you're interested to see what Springboard has to offer for UX designers, don't forget to check out the link down below.